Welcome, people of the World Wide Webs. It's Cypher Sigma here. It's the weekend, and as it always is the weekend, it's always a movie review. So this week I have for you Imaginary. So this is the new, I think, Blumhouse kind of horror-esque film from the mind of Jeff Wadlow, who had previously, the only films I know him from is obviously Fantasy Island and Kick-Ass 2. And as the poster and the trailer reveals, it's kind of focused on a family and a teddy bear. So the premise, if you don't know it, is essentially this: you have a young woman named Jessica. She has married this bloke, man, kind of taken on their two kids. Unfortunately, these kids and dad have had a history with their mum, who kind of has had a psychotic break. You don't really know that too much. She has her own issues, but she's an artist, so she does like kids books, and has been having nightmares and stuff. And to help her out, she has moved into her dad's house, which is vacant because unfortunately he has been put in an old folks home. As she goes into this home with her new family, the youngest daughter goes downstairs and finds this teddy bear that is her imaginary friend called Chansey, and basically things then kind of take a turn for the worse. That's the gist of it. I say we'll put spoilers and everything, and I'll go more into details later. So I did like this movie. It had some prizes. I thought this was quite cleverly done. It did a lot more stuff positive and negative, but the one thing I want to clarify, this is a 15 rated movie, specifically for the UK. This is a kind of a half family movie and a little bit of horror mixed into it, and it does some stuff right, but it's not like people getting ripped to shreds and stuff. There are a few deaths here and there, but there isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things. There are a few jumps, but again, it's not throughout most of the movie. There is a kind of two elements that are playing here, even though it seems as a horror and it's all going to be thing. It has kind of this other kind of family wholesome element that is mixed in. And I say, and for the most part, a lot of the elements, or I feel a lot of the elements work. But it's just to let you know, if you're going in to think that loads of people are going to get killed and this is horrifying, it ain't going to be that. You will be disappointed. But anyway, spoiler warning up. As per usual, we're going to get into it. So as I said, so this story starts about Jessica. She is an artist. She keeps having this dream about this character that she comes from her imagination. Unfortunately, she is obviously seems like she's having a bad time and obviously having issues writing her new book. Partner, husband, and these two kids obviously trying to get away from his ex who has issues, and obviously to help them out, they move into the Jessica's dad's house early because he's in a kind of mental institution, and or it's an old folks home, but it seems like he is a little bit disturbed. This is when things start to take a little bit of a turn, and a young girl finds this bear that you see her carry around, and basically as the story goes on, it is this bear gives her kind of a set of tasks to do, and these set of tasks then basically lead her into the imaginary worlds, which you find out then the mother has actually been to when she was a daughter, and this imaginary friend is actually her imaginary friend, which she broke away from when he was younger, and it kind of links with spirits and different religions and stuff. And yeah, so that is kind of, as it goes on, obviously there's a fight, you do get to see this alternate world, which is done really well. There isn't much, if any, CG in this. It is quite scare tactics and stuff. And I think, those elements are really, really good. There are a few twists and turns near the end. There's a joke near the end about hotels and stuff like this, and I think that was very well done. But I say it's short and free because I don't want to give too much away because there are a lot of twists and turns. So for me, this, as I say, I really like this movie. This movie was quite wholesome in a way, but had that horror element. It starts the first one, I would say half, it's scaring, maybe even 2/3, and then you have a few other characters coming in. You realise that obviously the mum is connected to what the daughter is going through. Which is, I say, there's a lot of twists and turns in. I didn't see a lot of them coming. Obviously, you do get to see the evil bear, and there are a kind of things. Is it in people's heads? Is it not? And I thought that was quite ingenious as well and quite played out. There weren't stuff I was looking for. Again, only one person, as far as I can remember, on screen gets killed, and you see him get dragged into a room, and then blood comes out. So it's not as horror-y as you would imagine. or could have been. And I don't know if it, say this is where it's saying with the wholesome one, because it is all about the family and the mum trying to look after stuff, and then it has kind of a twist ending, but not a twist ending because it's kind of done early. Um, and stuff. But I did like the idea. As I say, it had a lot of elements going for it that worked really well. I said I liked the bear. I liked the evil version of the bear, even though you didn't get to see it too much. I liked the fantasy imaginary world. I liked the twists and turns in the story and how some of it was scare tactics beginning in, but it was all, but because no one really gets killed, it doesn't really follow through too much. The main woman, Jess, she is an artist, and I really love the artwork, and whoever they got to do that work was amazing, like the little spiders and the millipedes and stuff, and I really liked that, and how they were integrating that into the story and stuff worked really well. um, but yeah, I must admit I'm going to rate this a 6.4 out of 10. So for me, I really like this. I really like this more because it was something a little bit different that had a few elements. As I say, it did more right than it did wrong, but I get it going into it and how it's promoted. It seems like a horror movie, and I think a lot of people will be disappointed in that. And I'm not the biggest horror fan, so maybe that's why I wasn't as disappointed and why I rate it. So it's definitely one I want to pick up. I'm definitely intrigued. I think this, not to kind of link on it, but this has very much opened a door to a way, if it this imaginary friend and stuff like this could work really well. No, they've done it creatures like that, but there's always some sort of creature, whereas this is kind of linked with a person, and the twists and turns are there is that connection, and what happens if that connection is broken. But anyway, that has been my review of Imaginary. I know I've not given away too much because there's a lot, as I say, I think people will be disappointed. I don't want to give away too much here, even if you watch the full review. So you can watch this movie, and there's a lot of twists and turns that will be more apparent as you go on, and I've not spoiled it in this thing because I think it is a good movie and it is worth watching. Have you seen this movie, Imaginary? Let me know in the comments down below. I mean, this is quite funny. We get a movie about a kind of horror imaginary, and then we have Ryan Reynolds later on this year, and he's got his imaginary one coming out. It's quite funny, these movies come out quite similar but different. Otherwise, I've been Cypher Sigma Screen Time. This has been my review. Let me know in the comments down below any views on it or that. Otherwise, I shall see you in the next one.